In today's video, we're going to use something called CAD, computer-aided design, to help design our brief stander, and in the end turn our design into something we call an orthographic projection, which is a 2D representation of the 3D object itself. And by using this, it will allow us to create templates and cutting paths for the materials that we intend to cut out. Okay, now because we can't use Fusion anymore because the age limit, we're going to use something called Onshape. Now Onshape, if you just type in Onshape in Google, it's the first option you've got, and you're going to want to sign up or sign up, put your details in. If you've got a phone, maybe don't use your phone number when it asks. Maybe ask your parents' permission or add the school's number, and that way you can start protecting your data. When it asks for email, then school's email, please, and so that we can monitor if you're getting scammed and things like that. But Onshape is a safe app, and it's run by a safe company, PTC. Okay, so once you've signed in, you're going to be given the application and the access to the application. The application is web-based. Okay, so that means that you can use it on anyone's computer and any computer. So you can use it on your Mac, or if you have a PC at home. I'm not sure about Android or iOS, but I'm sure you can always give it a go. Okay, so once we're at this screen, obviously you won't have Derby Race there because that was last year's project, but you'll have this area here which says create, and you're going to create a document. Okay, and we're going to call that whatever you want. Let's just call it a letter rack because that's what we're making. And because it's web-based, it is going to take a little bit of time to update things. Okay, but not that much time. I mean, we're talking a few seconds. Okay, so what we've got here, we've got a right side view. So that's if I was going to look at the side view. We've got the front view, and we've got the top view, and that's like the bird's eye view or the plan view. First of all, everything that we do is going to be in millimeters. Okay, so the first thing we need to do here is just change the document properties, the workspace units, turn those from inches to millimeters. Okay, and when you're happy with that, press the tick button. So now we've converted everything into millimeters. It's all we need to do is decide where we're going to draw this. Now, if I was to look at the side view, all I would get would be, depending on your design, but all I would get would be a selection of squares and very, very thin rectangles, which would suggest that I was looking at the side, and the thickness of the MDF is only 3 millimeters, and so you couldn't really see the shape. You would just see the side of the shape. If I was looking at the top, it'd be very similar. I might see the drill holes if you're planning to drill into the main block, but I'm not going to see those shapes. So what I'm going to do is suggest that you start your sketch in the front. So as I said, sketch, let's actually click sketch. We haven't finished the sketch, and we're not going to cancel the sketch, so we can just leave that there. Now it does say sketch plane in blue, and when it's in blue, it just means that that's what you're selecting. So I'm going to select the front, and then I'm going to look at the front. So I've selected the front, and now I'm going to go to what Autodesk calls the view cube. So let's just call it the cube, or the view cube actually, and press front. So that was like that, and click that. Now if you ever want to go around, this is the opposite direction of what you're thinking. Okay, so when you're clicking those arrows, it's not your head you're clicking the cube. So if I click the left, I'm not moving to the left, I'm moving the cube to the left. Okay, and as soon as you can get into that frame of mind, there shouldn't be a problem. So we're going to select the front. Now I'm giving you a block, 2 blocks of wood, one that is 15 by 15 square with a length of, let's say, 210, everything's in millimeters, and then another block which is 210 length again, and that is 40 by 40, and those are your pine blocks. And then we'll give you an A4 piece of MDF. So why don't we just look at that? I've already done it. So A4 size in centimeters, and that is 210. Yeah, so I was right. 210 by 297. Okay, well, why don't we start by drawing the block first? Now, if we're looking at the front of that block, I can click the rectangle. It's probably important that I draw on this line because that is the top line. So if I was looking down, if I'm looking at it, that is the surface. Anything below that is below the surface, so negative numbers if you've done that in maths yet, and then above that is positive numbers. So let's start here, and in fact, why don't we start at 0, 0, which is that little dot there. Okay, so I clicked it once, and there you can see there's my rectangle. Now, I can eyeball this and move it up till I get 40, or I can simply click that, then go to the dimension, or press the letter D, click this, bring it out, and type in 40, press enter, give it a bit of time, remember, you are on the internet, and with dimensions still selected, click down there, and go 210, press enter. Okay, well, what we've done now is we have created a flat rectangle that has no volume, no mass. We need to give it mass, and I said that the block of wood I was going to give you was 40 by 40. So what we're going to do is we're going to extrude that, we're going to put it towards us or push it back, doesn't really matter, and that's going to be to the distance of 40. So let's click extrude or shift E. Now that means to bring something out from a profile and actually create a volume of that. Very similar to squeezing toothpaste through a tube. The round hole is going to give you a cylinder. Okay, so the depth of that is 40, and if I press OK with that, that's going to give me a block, which is, let's get that right, which looks like that, and if I look from the top, it's going to look like that. Okay, so let's get orientated, yeah, that word, and we'll just go back into 3D so you can see. So this is going to be my main block of pine. This is the larger block of pine. Now I can move all this around. It's a little bit tricky with this program, but I think it might be best if we do create the second block now. So looking at the front side, I'm going to create a sketch again. It's asking me what plane, and I'm going to select that plane there, which is the front plane again. And now it's time to do sketch 2. Now I can draw over the top of that, but things get confusing. So I'm actually going to choose a point that is hovering above it. And exactly the same as before, I click that second click, press dimension, click that, and I said that was 15. Press enter. Not sure why that's done that. And that one was 210. Okay. So let's have a look. That's okay. Now it is overlapping, which does cause a problem. Okay, so press tick and let's extrude that, and I'll tell you what the problem is. Sometimes you can't see it because the solid is covering it up. The best thing to do is if you go to, let's just do this first and see what happens. Right, so I'm going to click that. I'm going to reverse that back. So at the moment you can see it's coming over. That back. Now if I add, okay, so you can see the word add. If I add, I am in effect adding a volume or a mass to my existing solid, and I don't want to do that because it is a separate piece. So we're going depth of 15, not pressing enter, and instead of add, I'm pressing new. Okay, so there's going to be a new piece. So you can see it's already says part 2. Let's say I was a bit confused. I can always hide that first one. Okay, so bring it back, hide it. If you're not confused, just leave it. You're doing okay. All right, so the depth is 15, the height was 15, the length was 210. Happy with that. It's new, it's a new solid. I'm not adding to the existing solid. And now I've got blocks of wood even though they're in a bit of a weird position. So why don't we move those now? Now if I look at the right side view for this, it's easier, and with part 2 selected, I'm going to go to transform because I'm transforming its existence in space. So little down arrow, transform, and you want to do a translate by X, Y, Z. So obviously coordinates X, Y, Z. Click that, and there's those little arrows, and you can click that. Remember, if I do that, that's just the network catching up, or the server catching up with what I want it to do. Let's try and keep that as close to the other one as possible, just because we're trying to make your life a little bit easier. Now I know I'm going to have some shapes in the middle of these two pieces, and I know that those shapes are made from the MDF, and I already have been told, and I will get told, and I'll research it, that the thickness of those shapes is going to be 3 millimeters. Okay, so if I click this one, can you see Y is changing? So if I just move that to about there and actually add 3 to it, so that's 55.1. If I just go 55, can I do that? And that would therefore be 58. It's the green tick. That gap there theoretically should be around 3 millimeters. Well, we can actually check that sometimes by looking for the dimension line. It might not be here. I can't find it. I'm just going to move on. Okay, let's have a look at the 3D view again. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to draw our shapes. Now remember, we're only allowed one single piece of A4. You don't need to use the whole thing, but you can't use more. Sometimes your teacher might say you can use more if your friend gives you more, but let's pretend, or let's acknowledge that I don't have any friends and that I'm going to use a single A4 sheet. So the size of that is 210 by 297. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to draw it on the front. I'm going to look at the front. I'm going to draw my rectangle there. Choose a place. Go up here. And then go to my dimension line. Click this. Click that. 210. Press enter. Big. And click my dimension line here. And that was 297. And press enter. Let's zoom out. So we've got quite a lot of wood to make the shapes. Okay, well, we know that those prime shapes are going to be the square, the triangle, and the circle. So why don't I make one of each? Using my line tool, I'm going to first draw a triangle. Now, if I was being very careful, I could say, I could actually do this. Click that line tool, go to the bottom, it doesn't matter if you overlap, and choose a size. Okay, 148.5. Choose, go back here, 148.5. Let's come out, 148.5 if I can. 148.8. Now we already know how to change lines, so if I do that, 148.5, and do the line tool again and join those nodes up. That's the end of the line. So there's my first triangle. Let's draw a square. So rectangle tool there. If I press shift, alt, there you go. If I press alt, that will actually keep it in uniform like a square. So let's just go there. Let's make a small square. And now I can draw my circle. Now I can actually drop that down and do a 3-point circle, or I can do a center point circle. Let's eyeball this. So I'm going to go here, there, and that circle fits. Okay, I've wasted a bit of wood. I could if I wanted make another square. I don't know why I'm doing this. It means I've got more work to do. Okay, so there's my second square, much smaller. Okay, so these are my shapes. So now what I've got to do is remember that there's no mass, there's no volume. I've got to extrude those. Can you guess how much by? Of course, by 3 millimeters. So let's extrude those. Okay, I'll tell you what, before we do that, we're going to trim. So I need to get back into that sketch. That'll sketch 3. Right click, edit. And can you see those scissors? Let's press trim. We're going to click that. Look at that. Okay, so these are our lines now. There's nothing joining. That makes my life easier for this part. I'm going to extrude. I'll go back into 3D view so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to turn that to 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all pieces, and because they're all separate, they're not joined, they're all separate parts. So let's press OK. Alright, so now what we're going to do is just going to move these around. The easiest way to do this is choose a view. I'm going to choose front and then start moving them around from there. So the first one is that, which is part 3. It's a good idea. Let's rename that and call it triangle. So that's triangle. Let's just check. Good. Let's rename that one. So that one is the small square. So we'll do SMSQ. And that one is the large square. So we'll just call that square. And it is a good idea to name your parts because it does stop confusion when things get really complicated. And circle. My part 1 is the first I did, so we'll call that the big block. And part 2 was the little one. Rename, and we'll just call that a little block. Okay, so let's start moving that around. So the first thing I want to do is move that triangle. So what I can do is I click that once, that highlights it. Remember, transform to move, and we're going to translate by X, Y, and Z, which means I can move the arrows, make my life a bit easier. I'll do that first in the front view. Then I'm going to look at the right side view. And I actually want my triangle to be in the middle. So now I'm going to move it that way. And let's go back to 3D, and I'm pretty happy with that there. So I press OK. Now I know some of you are panicking because the colours are all wrong, but don't you worry, we will change those in a minute. Let's move our circle to the back. And we'll do the back. Let's start with this view first. So this time we're going to start with the right side view. So there, transform. Oh, that was a bit silly. Select the triangle, the circle, and we're translating by X, Y, Z. Zoom in. Going to move that 3 mil and move it down. And we're then going to look at the front. And I'm happy with that. Oh damn. Okay, my mouse just ran out of batteries. Okay, there we are, we're back. Let's charge that battery up. Okay, 3D view, so you can see I've got triangle and I've got the square. Now let's have, I don't really want that big square, but shall I use it? Alright, I'm going to use the square. I don't want to, but right, the first one, little square, small square. So go there, click transform, go to transform by that. Let's have a look. Now, like I said, it's easier. You got to choose a viewpoint first, okay? Don't try and do it. You can do it in 3D, but sometimes you make little mistakes and difficult to correct. Okay, so it's a little bit too low. We can, of course, use the numbers like we did before, but that means I have to measure, and I'm only using this as an example for the program itself. So as you can see, I did that in 3D, but of course I couldn't see exactly where it was going to end up, so I had to then go into 2D. Right, and we'll just drag that in. And when you're happy with that, click. Let's go back into 3D. We're going to go do the big block now, and do this one. That wasn't a big block, was it? What have I done? Big square. So this one, I can actually move around. Let's get it roughly into the proper area. Let's move it back. Let's move it down. Let's have a look, and if we go to the right side view, the front view, sorry, you can actually just move that in line. Okay, so that's pretty much how the thing's going to go together. Now what I would like is I would like my phone to go up here, and I would like a pencil or something to go in here. So I'm going to show you how to now make a groove and make a hole. Now they're all separate parts, remember, nothing should be joined. So the first thing is, let's show you how to do the groove. Well, we're going to select the big block so you can see it. What I want to do is I'm going to make a circle here, half a circle there, semicircle, and push it forward halfway, around halfway. So sketch, select the side. So I've said I'm going to draw something on the side of this block. I'm going to look at the side of that block, and I'm going to click the circle. Now, I'm not clicking anything yet, and you've got the magnet snap, and I'm just going to move my mouse across. Can you see where it went square? That is the midpoint, so click that, move down, and now I can actually change that dimension. So back to the dimension, go in here, and I reckon a good dimension is 10. Now that is 10 is the size of the diameter. Now if you don't know what the diameter is, that is the size from this end all the way through the center to the other end. Okay, that's the diameter of 10. Now the radius is half of that, so that is from the center to the end, not from end through the center to the end. Okay, so the diameter is 10. We're going to go into 3D mode. We're happy with that sketch, so I can just say yes. We're going to go extrude. We're going to select that. Now here, can you see add? So remember, if I did that, then I'm gluing this piece of wood to this piece of wood. If I do new, then I'm making a new piece of wood. And of course what we're doing is we're removing it, and we're going to go all the way through, and you can see there is there's the groove forming. Now I said I wanted it half. The total, if you remember, was 210. So this means 105, and look at that, almost correct. 105. So, okay, so there's my groove for my phone. Now, of course, if you want to be clever, you could probably drill a hole all the way through, and all the way through there with your wire. I don't know how you can do that. And so you can actually charge up your phone as well as have it standing there like an alarm clock. Okay, the next one is the hole. So this one I'll draw 2 holes here, and I'm going to just extrude those down, taking away, so I can have 2 pencils there, or ear AirPods or whatever those things are called that you listen to music without wires, for iPhones. Right, so sketch. I've already chosen the face. Let's do it again, see what happened. I selected that first, then I went sketch that time. Didn't have to. I could have gone sketch and then selected it. But it's pretty clever. It knows exactly what I want. Let's zoom in. Circle. I'll tell you what, let's do a line. Now here, do you remember construction lines? Can you see that dotted line? Let's turn this. You see construction? Go to there, click there. There's your halfway point. Can you see the dotted line? That's the construction line. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's escape that. We'll get rid of that. Now I can actually put my circles. Got to make sure we're not in construction anymore. My circles there. Now the diameter of a pencil, you'll need to measure it, but I'm going to assume that it's 8. So click there, and obviously you're going to measure all this. Click there. Okay, so dimension. Let's do the diameter again. That did not convert back into the normal line, so let's do that one. And that one, both 8. And now I'm pressing escape. I'm going to select that one, shift and select that one, and then click that. And now that has gone from construction into the firm. Alright, let's have a look. Now I'm going to extrude them. So let's go tick, happy with that. Sketch, sorry, not sketch, extrude. Select that circle, select that circle. There you go, there's the join. We're removing, so it automatically goes in. Have a look at the front. Now that was 15, wasn't it? Remember 15? So if I went down 10, that would give me a thickness of 5, just protecting that. So you don't. So I'm not drilling all the way through. If you want to drill all the way through, that's fine. Okay, and that's pretty much it. We'll do one more thing so you can see. It's called a chamfer. Okay, so if I click chamfer there, and click that side, and that side, and go to, let's do 1. So, okay, can you see that little opening? And that's just going to help me put my pencil in there. And of course, you can do that with something we call a countersink, or you can use a larger drill, or you can wrap your finger up with a bit of glass paper and start sanding that out. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now I did promise you I would change the colors, so why don't we have a look? Go to the big block, right click. I can assign a material, but it does nothing, so it's not worth it. So I'm going to edit the appearance. Now that is just going to be grey. The little block is going to be the same color. Edit the appearance. That's going to be grey. Did I press tick? Gotta press tick. Okay, and obviously the triangle is, in this case, going to be yellow. So edit the appearance, press yellow and tick. The circle is there. We'll right click that. No, that was the wrong one. Yeah, I'm going to edit that appearance and turn that blue. Press tick, and then we've got this square. So if I go small square, shift, square, right click, 2 parts. So what we're doing is we're editing the appearance, 2 parts, it's red, and we're done. And that is it for now. Okay, so that is how you turn your design in and put it into 3D. And I can actually hide these to make it a bit neater. Now, some of you already use some Tinkercad, and Tinkercad's just as effective in doing this, and can actually give you sometimes it can give you a rendered quality to make this actually look like wood. The only thing is that I can't find is Tinkercad can't do an orthographic sketch. Now, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to turn this into an orthographic sketch. But until that point, have a go at using Onshape to create a design or your final design for your brief stander project.